Hello there. My name is Max. I'm a real Pilatus PC-12 pilot, and I'm in XP11 today at Gustav III Airport on Saint Bart's. I fly in and out of Saint Bart's in real life. I'm a qualified pilot in command at this airport on the Pilatus, and I thought it might be fun to show you how we actually fly the Pilatus in and out of this beautiful little island here. Today I'm using the Princess of the Caribbean scenery pack for Saint Bart's, and I'm also using the Carenado PC-12 with the Reality expansion pack. I've made a couple of my own modifications to the aircraft file for the PC-12 to make it act a little bit more realistically. It does a decent job of simulating like the real airplane, and there are a couple of weird quirks and dissimilarities, but overall it's not bad. A quick rundown of what I'm going to do today is it's going to be a takeoff on runway 10. We'll make just a left traffic back around for runway 10, and I'll describe some of the visual waypoints we use as well as what I'm looking at while I fly the approach. Then we'll do a couple of circuits for runway 28, left and right traffic. I'll do my best to talk through everything as I'm doing it, and obviously this is absolutely not supposed to be used for any sort of real-world reference or anything. I'm purely having fun on my home flight sim and giving you a little insight about what I'm doing relative to the real world, how I fly it in the real world. So we're on runway 10 in the PC-12 right now. I've got it configured as if we just pulled onto the runway and we're waiting for traffic to clear or something like that. A runway 10 takeoff is pretty straightforward. It'll be holding the brakes stationary while we apply the takeoff power, and then once we verify that the takeoff power is set properly, we'll release the brakes. What we're looking for here is 60 knots on the airspeed indicator by taxiway Charlie. Taxiway Charlie is this taxiway here at the end of the ramp, just past the little checker marks here. If we don't have 60 knots by the Charlie taxiway, we abort, and that should give us enough time to stop by the end of the runway before the beach. And if we have 60 knots, we continue to take off. We rotate at 80 knots, and with a positive rate, we'll put the gear up. Once we get to the end of the runway here, we'll make a left turn to a 060 heading. We'll climb up to the pattern altitude of 1,500 feet. This scenery is actually quite excellent. I rather like it. Having spent a lot of time at the real airport, it's pretty darn accurate. And you got even a couple of the other Pilatuses here on the ramp. It's pretty nice. So down into the cockpit now. I got everything set up. Just ready now for a final items checklist, which I will run here. So final items, flaps are 15, the lights are on, ice protection as required, condition lever is flight idle and seated, and the cause is appropriate, and there's no lights on at all. Alright, final items complete. And the heading is 100, that checks runway 10. Alright, let's bump the power up here a bit. Alright, we're on the governor, set takeoff power. Alright, power set, gauge is green, the cause is appropriate. Off the brakes. Airspeed's alive. There's 60 knots by Charlie, that's good. 80 knots, rotate. Positive rates, gear up, the audience on, lights off, we're past the runway, start that left turn now to a 060 heading. There we go. Alright, there's 400 feet, we're going to leave the flaps at 15 today for the traffic pattern. 1,000 to go to 1,500. Off our left shoulder. And we're through 1,000 feet. We're also going to leave this inertial separator open, but I will bring the power back and start a turn for a left downwind. About 28 or so on the torque should do the trick. Also not using the flight director anymore, and I'll go ahead and turn that off. Alright, so this island just underneath our nose here is Forgot. It's used as a mandatory reporting point, especially when we're on the right 28 approach. St. Bart's does not have a control tower per se. There is an individual who sits in the little cab above the terminal, and he provides you know, what the current winds are, QNH. If there's any reported traffic, somebody's called up, but you know, there's no takeoff clearances, there's no landing clearances. It's all pilot discretion. Just coming under the left wing here is the Bay de Saint Jean with the, you can see the end of the runway on the right side there. Alright, so what we're looking for on a runway 10 approach is Sugarloaf. Sugarloaf's a little rock outcropping right here on about a 4-mile final for runway 10. At Sugarloaf, we want to be fully configured, so gear down, flaps 40, and on speed. In the PC-12, we use the angle of attack indicator as our primary instrument for determining if we're on speed or not. That is on the left side of the EADI here. So you can see there's F through S with a little circle in the middle. We call the little circle donut. F is for fast, obviously, and S is for slow. Our goal is when we're at Sugarloaf, fully configured on the donut, so the angle of attack indicator will be showing right in the middle of that little circle. And that means we are stabilized for that approach. We'll run the before landing checklist and then shoot the approach down. Let's see here. So there's Sugarloaf coming off our left wing. Start a left base turn here. Most of the time we're coming in from the west. We're coming in from San Juan. So we're kind of lined up pretty well for 10 most of the time anyways. Speed checks, I'm going to select gear down. Landing taxi lights are coming on. Alright, down 3 green. Brake pressure is good. A lot of nose-up trim required here. Alright, so there you can see Sugarloaf is coming up just underneath our nose now. Speed checks, flaps 30 selected. Alrighty, and speed checks, flaps 40 selected. I'm going to turn the yaw damper off. Alrighty, and we're going to bring the power back a little bit and get on speed here. Alright, coming up close to a beam Sugarloaf. What we would do is, as we get up to Sugarloaf, we'd make a radio call. We'd say Saint Bart's info, good speed 590, Sugarloaf inbound 10. They'd give us an updated wind, as well as any traffic that's been reported, either on the runway or called up prior to us. Saint Bart's is kind of a first come, first serve airport. If you call up first, you get to go first, unless the pilot waves that right. Alrighty, so AOA, you can see on the left side of the EADI down there, is coming right onto the donut. The runway itself, you can see, is just here off of our nose. Alright, Saint Bart's is a pretty steep approach. If you were to take like a glide slope or something into here, it'd be approaching 7 degrees. I believe it's 6.8 degrees to clear the hill. So we usually maintain a pretty high altitude until we're on a relatively short final, and we use a low power setting and a very draggy configuration to fly a steep descent into the airport in order to clear that hill at a minimum energy. Alrighty, departing the pattern, I'm going to run the before landing checklist. Landing gear is down 3 green. The foot brakes are checked, good pressure. Landing and taxi lights I see are on. The flaps are 40 selected, indicated. Autopilot yaw damper is away. And the cabin pressurization is 0 differential. It's before landing checklist complete. Alright, and about here, what we would do is we'd call up and say Saint Bart's info, good speed 590 is short final, runway 10. And they'd give us one last wind check. Today the winds are out of the northeast at about 15 knots or so. So you can see here we're at a relatively steep rate of descent. We've got about 5 or so nose down attitude, low power setting, just slightly fast here. Down 3 green, checklist complete. Our runway on the donut, coming in over the notch now. Slow diamond. Alrighty, bring the power all the way out. There we go. Nice firm landing right before the checkerboards there. Get a little reverse in. Alright, there's 40 knots. Ground idle, and we'll bring it out of reverse. Alrighty, there we go. So that's our runway 10 landing. We'll do the little victory lap here at Baie de Saint Jean. Alrighty. That master caution, master warning is for the stabilizer trim, because we are outside of the takeoff setting. Alright, we'll start boosting ourselves back up the hill. Retract the flaps, and that's how you do a runway 10 landing on Saint Bart's. Next, what we'll do is I'm going to get the time changed back a little bit, and we'll show you what it looks like going in on runway 28. Alright, so now what we're doing is we're setting up for a left 2-8 approach. The left 2-8 starts very similarly to the 10. You get over Sugarloaf at 1,500 feet, get yourself configured on speed and all that. Instead of this time, instead of going straight in for 10, what we're going to do is we're going to fly a downwind over the top of Gustavia. So Gustavia is the town on Saint Bart's. It's this little area in front of me here with a little harbor. And what we're going to do is we're going to send down to cross Gustavia at about 1,000 feet. After Gustavia, we're going to go through this valley here with the hills on the right, and we're going to look for a radio tower on top of the hill. Now, the radio tower isn't actually in the simulator, but I'll show you where it is here in a second. We're going to descend to about 800 feet abeam the tower, which will put us about 800 feet when we're abeam the left downwind. Then we'll make a hard left turn, fly through a little valley towards a house with the green roof, and then a turn to final, with the goal of being wings level by Eden Rock. So Eden Rock's over here on the left. We have the runway 1028, and then the Eden Rock Hotel, which is just inside the Baie de Saint Jean on about a quarter-mile final. Right here is the Eden Rock Hotel. So we need to be wings level and stabilized by the time we get to the Eden Rock. Now you can see we're over Gustavia at 1,000. We're going to start descending down to about 800 feet. Coming up on the right is the hill. Normally there'd be a radio mast tower here on the right, but there isn't, unfortunately, in the simulator. So we just kind of jink right a little bit, and then we get ready to do a hard left turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to be looking over our shoulder and making a hard left turn to aim for this little house with a green roof. We hug the terrain on the right-hand side as we come around the corner. Alright, so here we go. Starting that hard left turn, about 30 degrees of bank or so, keeping an eye on our speed. Touch of power here. Looking good. Right on speed. Altitude's coming down. Alright, so now we're going to get ready. Here comes the wings level. Alright, we're going to start rolling wings level now and aiming for this kind of terrain here just on the right side of the Baie de Saint Jean. Alright, here we can see there's a boat with a mast in the harbor here. Alright, hard left turn. Avoid the boat. Make sure we get wings level by Eden Rock. Speed's looking pretty good. Torque is good. Alright, so now we go wings level. Alright, we're on speed, looking good. There's Eden Rock Hotel. Awesome, we're stabilized and all set. We're going to power out a little bit, got a little fast. Beach.
Minimums.
Touchdown. Alright, fly reverse. A little bit of braking action. There's 40 knots, ground idle, and coming out of reverse. Alright, and we'll vacate left here on Bravo, and then we'll take back off here in a sec and set up for a right 28 approach. Now we're going to do a right 28 approach. So this is where we come from the north. We fly into the Bay de Saint Jean towards the Eden Rock Hotel, and then we make a right turn onto Final. So we're not too far from Grouper. It's actually behind us, off to our behind our left wing here. We would have reported Grouper inbound for the right 28. Right now we're at 1,500 feet, coming up on Fregat. Fregat is the middle of these three islands here. At Fregat, we'll make a right turn. We'll be at 1,000 feet, and we'll fly straight in on a right base for runway 28. So I'm going to go ahead and speed check. Gear selected down. Landing taxi lights are on. Alright, I got down 3 green. Speed checks 30 selected on the flaps. And speed checks 40 selected on the flaps. Before landing, landing gear is down 3 green. Foot brakes are checked at pressure. Landing and taxi lights are on. The flaps are 40 selected, indicated. Autopilot yaw amp is away. And the cabin pressurization is 0 differential. That is before landing checklist complete. Alright, so we're coming up on 1,000 feet here. Coming up on Fregat. Bring that power back to get onto the donut. So our airport and runway are here off of our right wing. There's the beautiful island of Saint Bart's. Alright, so you can see there's the Bay de Saint Jean off of our right. We're going to fly kind of parallel to this coastline here, aiming for Eden Rock, and the same principle applies as it does with the left 28. We need to be stabilized and wings level by the Eden Rock Hotel. Alright, so there's Fregat. We report Fregat inbound for the right base runway 28. Alright, we're on speed, fully configured, everything's looking great. The shallower we can make that final turn, the better. So we kind of aim here off to the left. Here's Point Malou. And if we kind of make that, if we can make it perhaps a 60-degree turn as opposed to a 90-degree turn, that will, it makes that just that much easier. A little fast. Glide path looking okay. So here we go, we're going to turn here to start paralleling this piece of coast right now. Down 3 green, checklist complete, it's our runway. And we're going to aim basically straight for the Eden Rock Hotel. We can see here that we've got some a high-masted ship. Let's keep an eye on that, not fly into it. Runway's off to our right. Okay, we're going to start that turn. Nice steep bank right turn. And then wings level by Eden Rock. There we go.
Minimums.
Alright, full reverse. 40 knots, ground idle, coming out of reverse. Alright, there we go, and that's how you land on a right 2-8 in Saint Bart's. Alright, so what does a go-around look like on 2-8? It's actually the same procedure for either a right 2-8 or a left 2-8. It's just a right turn, very steep, full power, and no configuration changes until your wings level northbound. So take a look. Alright, now our wings level, climbing away. Put the flaps up, and with positive rate, gears coming up. That's all there is to it. Notice how we respected that angle of attack on that maneuver. We didn't let the shaker come on at all. That's a missed approach on 2-8. Well, that's really all there is to it. That's not true. There's a ton more that goes into it, but for a flight simulator, that's a pretty good start. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thanks very much. Appreciate the views. And if you guys would like to see more videos like this about the Pilatus and you know, like startup systems, stuff like that, let me know. I'd love to make that kind of thing. Talk to you soon.